The real workhorses of any economy, especially in a powerhouse like Germany with what, over 2.5 million of them, are the small to medium-sized enterprises, the SMEs. But it strikes me that connecting and really growing can be a huge hurdle for them.
It's a fascinating challenge, isn't it? These SMEs, the very foundation of economic activity, they often operate somewhat in isolation.
Mm.
SMEs wanted to trade, but they didn't know other SMEs that had what they wanted and wanted what they had, and when they did find them, they weren't sure if they could trust them or how creditworthy they were. How do they find new partners, tap into broader opportunities and access the financial support they need?
Exactly. And that's where a major player like Alliance Trade, you might remember them as Euler Hermes, sort of enters the picture. They're this huge international financial services giant, keeping a close eye on the financial health of about 80 million companies worldwide. And yeah, that includes those 2.5 million German SMEs we were just talking about.
And their insights are incredibly valuable because they possess just a vast amount of data on these companies, including their own internal credit ratings. I mean, imagine the depth of understanding they have.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. They're sitting on this mountain of information about millions of SMEs, right? But only around 14,000 of them were actually core clients using Alliance Trade's other services. That's just a massive gap between knowledge and engagement, isn't it?
It poses a crucial question.
Yeah.
How do you take that wealth of data and translate it into real-world connections and opportunities for this huge, largely untapped SME network? We're going to delve into the real-world context, the specific challenges they faced, the step-by-step process of how Luther's platform was implemented, and most importantly, the tangible impact it had, backed up by some key numbers.
Exactly. It's about understanding how a complex multi-stage operation, something that could easily become a huge bottleneck, was actually streamlined to deliver significant results. So Alliance Trade had this really forward-thinking idea to build an SME connectivity platform and safe trade network. Think of it as a kind of digital town square, but Alliance Trade approved and validated, a place where these businesses could find each other, knowing that everyone involved has a certain level of credibility thanks to Alliance Trade's verified business information and credit ratings.
And if we look at the bigger picture, it's a really smart move. The SMEs gain a trusted environment to connect and grow, potentially opening up new collaborations and markets. And for Alliance Trade, well, it's a chance to significantly expand their reach and offer more precisely tailored financial products to a much wider audience. The wider SME network represented a huge opportunity, but the connections just weren't there.
And relying on traditional methods like general advertising or just hoping for word of mouth to bridge that gap just wasn't going to cut it, not given how dispersed the SME community often is. They needed a more direct and effective way to build those connections, a reliable road onto that map, so to speak.
The vision for the SME connectivity platform and safe trade network was precisely that, to create that reliable road, that bridge between Alliance Trade's resources and the wider SME world.
So this Alliance Trade approved and validated environment was the goal, basically a trusted space for it.
Now, a critical element in making this vision a reality is the process of onboarding these SMEs onto the network. It's the gateway, right? It allows them to participate. And while Alliance Trade had existing onboarding procedures for their core financial services, those weren't really designed to handle the scale and specific needs of this new network. It needed to be efficient and seamless to encourage adoption and growth.
Right, it's like inviting people to a great party. The process of getting in needs to be smooth and welcoming, not some kind of hassle. And this onboarding, it involved several key steps.
Exactly. First, identifying suitable candidates from Alliance Trade's extensive database. Then, reaching out with an invitation, usually through a representative of the company. Following that, verifying the identity of that representative and, crucially, verifying the identity and credentials of the company itself to ensure compliance and, well, build trust within the network.
And this wasn't a simple single-team operation, was it? It involved coordination across multiple departments. The Alliance Trade onboarding team, their communications team handling the outreach, the company representative from the SME itself, and then the Alliance Trade verification team responsible for those crucial checks.
That's right. 4 distinct teams interacting with a surprisingly large number of software systems. We're talking about 10 different systems and a staggering 107 individual tasks from start to finish for a single SME to be fully onboarded.
Wow, 107 tasks. So you had these teams essentially passing data back and forth, waiting for responses, manually validating information, then sharing and storing it across these 10 different systems before they could even move to the next step. That sounds incredibly time consuming.
It was, very much so. And at the heart of this was what's often referred to as a function-first approach to operations.
Okay, explain that a little more. What does function first really mean in this context?
Essentially, the focus is primarily on the individual teams and the specific software systems they use, with the end-to-end process kind of taking a backseat. Each team optimizes their own part of the workflow, sure, but how those individual parts connect and flow together smoothly across the entire process becomes, well, a secondary concern. This often leads to reliance on custom-built connections, those bespoke connectors between systems and localized team-specific automation scripts.
So instead of a unified system, you've got this sort of patchwork of different tools and processes that don't always communicate effectively. That messy description you used earlier seems pretty accurate.
Absolutely. And this approach led to a whole range of practical problems that were seriously hindering the growth of this new network. The sheer inefficiency of the onboarding process was a major bottleneck. The slow pace could negatively impact Alliance Trade's reputation, and the delays could even lead to lower client retention if SMEs got frustrated and just dropped out.
And with so much manual verification involved, the risk of fraud must have been a significant concern as well, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Huge concern. Plus, the lack of a centralized view of data. The lack of data transparency made it harder for SMEs to trust each other within the network. If you don't have confidence in the legitimacy of the other participants, you're less likely to engage.
And a lengthy, error-prone onboarding experience wouldn't exactly build trust in Alliance Trade either, would it? Seems counterproductive.
Not at all. And let's not forget the operational challenges for Alliance Trade itself. The non-standard operations across different process steps and over time made it really difficult to maintain consistency. Changes weren't always implemented uniformly. There was a lack of real-time visibility into the status of the onboarding process, requiring constant manual reconciliation of data. This naturally led to larger operations teams and increased the potential for compliance issues and associated fees or even violations. This is where the concept of a process-first solution, pioneered by Luther, becomes so significant. It represents a fundamental shift in focus, prioritizing the reliable operation of the entire end-to-end process across all the involved teams and underlying systems.
Okay, so the key difference is that instead of focusing on individual functions or systems, the primary focus is on ensuring the whole process flows smoothly and consistently from start to finish.
Exactly. Luther's unique value proposition lies in providing a common operation script that everyone, all the teams and all the different software systems adheres to. And that's standard connectivity.
Okay, so how does this translate into practical application? How did Luther's platform actually work in this scenario day to day?
Well, instead of those point-to-point bespoke connectors we talked about earlier, which were prone to breaking, Luther connects each of the existing systems to standard platform nodes. And the crucial part is that common operation script is like a shared set of instructions, coded instructions, that dictates how the entire onboarding process should unfold step by step, automatically. Even when changes to the process are needed, they have to be agreed upon by all stakeholders and then reflected in that, ensuring everyone stays perfectly in sync.
And this led to the creation of the Alliance Safe Trade application, which was operated on the Luther platform.
Precisely. This application provided Alliance Trade with a reliable and adaptable infrastructure, a single, unified source for all the SME data related to the onboarding process, and significantly reduced friction and delays thanks to that standardized common operations script. No more data silos.
And as a result, it not only streamlined the onboarding, but also opened up those broader opportunities we discussed for Alliance Trade to offer more financial products based on a richer understanding of this wider SME network, and for the SMEs themselves to connect and collaborate more effectively within a trusted environment. It sounds like it unlocked a lot.
Definitely.
That sounds like it could have been a lengthy and involved undertaking, connecting all those systems and writing the script. What was the actual timeline for all of this?
Surprisingly fast, actually. The initial process mapping was completed in just 2 weeks. The platform setup itself was remarkably quick, taking only about a day. And the full implementation of the minimum viable product, or MVP, was achieved in a total of just 10 weeks.
10 weeks. From mapping to a live MVP for a complete overhaul. That's genuinely impressive. So let's get a clearer picture of the difference. How did the onboarding process actually work on the Luther platform compared to that 107 task behemoth it was before? What did an SME experience?
Well, the key difference was the automation and standardization. Previously, as we discussed, you had all those manual verification and approval points that introduced delays and potential errors. The Luther platform automated many of these verification steps and approvals based on the rules defined in the Common Operations Script. This meant that once an SME submitted their information and their representative was verified, the platform could automatically check against various data sources and, if everything aligned, automatically approve them to move to the next stage. It just flowed.
So far less human intervention needed, faster checks, and a much smoother overall flow. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what were the actual results? What kind of impact did implementing the Luther platform have on Alliance Trade's operations and their ability to grow this crucial SME network?
The estimated commercial impact of the Luther Platform MVP was quite remarkable, really. They saw an estimated return on investment, an ROI of 10x. Along with that, they achieved a cost reduction of 50% in the onboarding process itself. And most impressively, the average speed of onboarding increased by a factor of four times faster.
Okay, let's translate those percentages into tangible benefits.
Faster integration into the network means SMEs can start engaging with other businesses and accessing Alliance Trade's financial services much quicker. This accelerates their ability to trade and grow. For Alliance Trade, this faster integration leads to stronger client relationships right from the start and the potential for increased trade volume within the network, which in turn enhances their revenue opportunities. Plus, let's not forget, the improved data quality through automated verification significantly helps to reduce the risk of fraud.
So it really is a win-win. Faster, more efficient, less frustrating onboarding for the SMEs, and reduced costs, lower risk, and increased revenue potential for Alliance Trade. Everyone benefits.
Exactly. And beyond the direct commercial benefits, they also saw significant operational improvements. They achieved reliable operations across the entire end-to-end process, and importantly, over time, meaning the system was stable and consistent, not constantly needing tweaks, their operations teams dedicated to this specific process were reduced by a factor of 5.
5 times smaller ops teams, that's huge.
It is. They also gained real-time monitoring capabilities, ensuring they had complete visibility into the onboarding process at all times. No more guessing where things stood. Compliance checks became enforced automatically, baked into the script, reducing the risk of violations. Updates to the process could be rolled out consistently across all teams in real time. And the need for that painful data reconciliation was significantly reduced, almost eliminated in some areas.
And what about the technical side of things? Were there benefits for the development teams as well? Did it make their lives easier?
Yes, indeed. They experienced a standardized development process, which made things more predictable and efficient. Developers could focus more on the operational logic of the process rather than just wrestling with integrations. Their development teams working on this were also reduced by a factor of 5, mirroring the ops saving.
So just to wrap this up, Luther's platform provided that critical process-first solution that really addressed the core challenges Alliance Trade was facing in scaling their SME network. By implementing that standard connectivity in the Common Operations Script, they achieved some pretty incredible results in terms of efficiency, cost savings, and sheer speed.
Absolutely. Let's just reiterate those key numbers because they really tell the story. A 10x return on investment, a 50% reduction in onboarding costs, and a 4x increase in the speed at which they can bring new SMEs onto their network. These improvements created significant, tangible value for both Alliance Trade and the multitude of SMEs they serve.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Consider the complex, multi-stage processes, maybe within your own organization or industry. What untapped potential could be unleashed by adopting a similar process-first mindset and truly focusing on the end-to-end flow?
That's a powerful question to consider, definitely. And if you're interested in learning more about Luther's platform and exploring similar case studies, you can find more information at luthersystems.com.